It is a bad situation that the radical left media doesn't want to so much as mention.
There's tremendously bad things going on, including the confiscation of property, and worse, much worse than that. You know what I'm talking about. And that's big trouble for them.
You've said a lot
about South Africa in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens, but the South African situation is very, very dangerous and very bad for a lot of people.
Did you know that 72% of South Africa's farmland is still owned by just 7% of the population? Yeah, you heard that right. Talk about a landslide victory for inequality. But wait, there's more. We're about to dive into the juicy details of South Africa's new land law that's got Trump's toupee in a twist. Spoiler alert, it's not the horror story he's painting. Well, folks. It looks like our favorite tweeter-in-chief is at it again. This time, Donny Diapers has his tiny fingers all in a tizzy over South Africa's new land law. But hold on to your MAGA hats, because this might just be the most ridiculous Trump tantrum yet. So, what's got the orange turd all worked up?
And that's big trouble for them.
You've said a
lot about South Africa in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
South Africa is confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly.
It's hosting the G20 summit this year. Are you planning to attend this, or are you skipping it and telling your cabinet to?
He's screaming from the digital rooftops that South Africa is confiscating land and treating certain classes badly. Ooh, scary stuff, right? But before we all run for our bomb shelters, let's take a closer look at what's really going on. First up, the whole confiscating land bit. Spoiler alert, it's about as real as Trump's natural hair color. South Africa hasn't actually taken anyone's land. Shocking, I know. The new law is about as terrifying as a kitten in a Halloween costume. It just gives the government some wiggle room to maybe, possibly, potentially buy unused land. Oh, the horror. But wait, there's more. Trump's tweet storm claims that South Africa is treating certain classes badly. Now, I don't know about you, but when I hear certain classes coming from Trump, my dog whistle detector starts going bonkers. It's like he's trying to play the world's most obvious game of racist guess who. Here's the kicker though. While Trump's busy tweeting about imaginary land grabs, South Africa's actually trying to fix some real problems. See, they've got this pesky little issue left over from apartheid, where a teensy 9% of the population owns a whopping 72% of the land. But hey, why let facts get in the way of a good tweet, right? And let's not forget the cherry on top of this sundae of stupidity. Trump's suddenly so concerned about farmers in South Africa, but when it comes to farmers in his own country suffering from his trade wars, crickets. I guess empathy only extends as far as the nearest Fox News headline.
Well, we'll see what happens, but the South African situation is very, very dangerous and very bad for a lot of people.
It is a bad situation that the radical left media doesn't want to so much as mention.
And we're not making any payment until we find out what's going on in South Africa. Yes, please.
What's next for
All right, folks, time to talk about the orange turd's latest temper tantrum. Our grumpy Trumpy is threatening to turn off the money tap to South Africa. Ooh, scary. But let's see if his bark is worse than his bite. So, how much dough are we really talking about here? Well, Uncle Sam dishes out about $440 million to South Africa every year. That's a lot of Big Macs. But here's the kicker. Most of that cash isn't for building Trump Tower Cape Town or gold-plating their toilets. Nope, it's for something called PEPFAR. That's a fancy acronym for the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS relief. You know, actually saving lives and stuff. Not exactly Trump's forte. Now you might think South Africa would be quaking in their boots at the thought of losing all that cash. But guess what? They're basically saying, meh, whatever. Turns out, they don't really need most of that money anyway. It's like when your grandma tries to force-feed you vegetables, you can live without 'em, Granny. But here's where it gets really juicy. The South African government isn't just shrugging off Trump's threats. Oh no, they're firing back. They're calling out Donny Diapers for spreading a campaign of misinformation. Ouch. They're saying his executive order to freeze aid is about as factual as his hair color. It's like he's living in his own little alternative facts universe where South Africa's history of colonialism and apartheid never happened. And it gets even better.
There's tremendously bad things going on, including the confiscation of property, and worse, much worse than that. You know what I'm talking about.
A massive human rights violation is happening for all to see. The United States won't stand for it. We will act.
The South African Foreign Ministry is basically telling Trump to sit down and shut up. They're saying his order is painting a picture of South Africa that's about as accurate as his golf scores. It's like he's trying to rewrite their history with a big orange crayon. But wait, there's more. Remember how Trump was all worried about those poor white farmers? Well, turns out he might want to redirect that concern. Experts are saying that most of the violent crime in South Africa actually affects black individuals. So much for that white genocide nonsense, huh? All right, folks, let's wrap this up like Trump wraps his tiny hands around a Big Mac. If you've been paying attention, unlike some presidents we know, you've learned that the whole white genocide thing is about as real as Trump's natural hair color. But hey, don't take my word for it. Next time your Uncle Bob starts ranting about South African farmers at Thanksgiving, tell him to check out the South African Human Rights Commission. They've got more facts than Trump has golf courses. And if you're feeling extra spicy, why not put your money where your mouth is? Support organizations working on HIV/AIDS programs in South Africa. It's like giving Trump's funding cuts the middle finger, but with actual humanity. Plus, it's way more satisfying than rage tweeting at 3 a.m. Remember, kids, fact-checking is your friend. Unless you're aiming for a career in late-night comedy writing, in which case, just keep watching the news. With this administration, the jokes practically write themselves.